What would be your first question after waking up from being cryogenically frozen for 100 years? What if I just got up and I was like, can I get a ride home? I was just like, dude, that nap was crazy. Can you take me back to my apartment? The scientist is like, all right. How do you feel about Aunt Becky getting arrested? I mean, it's pretty freaking nuts. Well, the Indian part of me was like, USC? You're paying $500,000? It's not even Stanford? Like, so we're like, yeah, I paid $500,000. I was like, I just wanted to be like, you got ripped off. This is crazy to me. I love hearing like, they're spoiled and rich. I'm like, it's just corruption, just not done right. Oh man, you know what made me really mad? I was like, she better not be a communications major. Like if she's a communications major, like you paid $500,000 and you're like, what's your major? And like, English. I'm like, we gotta march in the streets right now. They live in LA too, which is weird. Where'd you go to school? Fordham? So you live here? You're from, see, that I respect. You're from California, you had to move out and you came here to New York to go to school. But Aunt Becky's daughter lives in LA. And if you do that, you have to do what I did in college. You just have to live at home with your parents in shame for 4 years. That's the only way you can do it. That's just an expensive apartment. You're like, all right, mom and dad, I'll see, I'm leaving. I'm living 5 minutes away. It's like, no, you gotta live with us. Did it make you really mad as a student? Really? What was the craziest part for you that you read about it?
I mean, I used to watch her on YouTube.
Used to watch? Oh, what did she talk about on YouTube?
Clothes.
That's it? You know there's a video of her being like, hey, I just got accepted, I'm going to school. I don't know, I'm not gonna like really be going to school. I'm just gonna go to the football games. And then part of me was just like, you could have saved your mom so much money by just being a YouTuber and then being like, can I go to a football game and get drunk? And then Aunt Becky will be like, well, we talked about this in an episode of Full House. You can do it, but only if I'm there. I feel like she'd be that type of mom. It's wild, man. I think what the good thing is that we're finally having the conversation about legacy admissions, which we talked about in the affirmative action episode, and it was something that like no one really wants to talk about because legacy admissions is like the go-to way people pay their way into school legally. That's the crazy part. It's just like, it's totally on the record, it's well known, and I think that's sort of detracted from the entire meritocracy conversation, especially around sort of taking down affirmative action. So I think at least this will start a good conversation. Also the lengths they went, I mean, my God. The Photoshop stuff? That was crazy. Yeah, I mean, look, I know what it's like to be unathletic. You can't use Photoshop to make up for that. Sometimes you gotta own your L, dude. I got my shit swatted in a game. I can't just be like, oh, just make my face Cal Penn's face. He'll deal with it. No, you gotta own your unathleticism. What if we have Zach from Digital? You do a bunch of green screen work. Here's what we're gonna do. You know what? I have an idea. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do a bunch of things that I would rather do, like other things that I could do, and then you can just like do a digital version of that and be like, yeah, this is. So like, what if I just roll on this camera? Okay. So I'm gonna act like. Okay. So this is what we'll do. I'm gonna act like I'm sitting at a desk. Make it look like Patriot Act is a desk show. There we go. Does that work?
That was great.
Okay, great. What else should I like? What else can you Photoshop me doing that I'm not qualified to do?
You do a
Cartwheel?
cartwheel?
I can't. Okay, no. Here's what we'll do. Okay, here. I'll do this, but animate. Okay, here we go. Do you want me to get it? Okay, on this one. On this one. Where do we have the clean? All right, whatever. You'll deal with it. You know. All right, next one. Okay, I've always wanted to, what's up?
Play basketball.
Well, I was gonna say I've always wanted to dunk. So here we go. You got that? Okay, good. What other one should we do?
Motorcycle.
Motorcycle? Motorcycle? All right, we got that. What else?
Flying plane.
I gotta do this one? What? Okay. What is the most embarrassing comment a relative has left on your social media? The most embarrassing comment I've gotten is, I went to college with your mom. Which is very weird. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta finesse my privacy settings. This is getting crazy. If Bollywood made a movie about your life, who would play your character and who would play Nudge Me? Okay, here's the thing. Anytime an Indian dude talks about which Bollywood character they'd be, they always we do Shah Rukh Khan. But that's like so delusional. We're like, oh yeah, Shah Rukh, that's me.
Manish Dayal.
Huh?
Manish Dayal.
But it said there's a Bollywood remake. You're like, oh. I like, but Manish is my friend. It can't be that. You know what? You know who'd be mine? I'd make it Govinda. He's great. He's super funny.
He's so short.
What do you mean? So what? He's hilarious. Have you met him?
No.
Then how do you know he's short?
Just from reference.
What? From movies? What if that's the way it works in your head? You're like, I don't know, he looks short in movies. What if I'm like Daniel Radcliffe? You're like, stupid, he's a wizard. Right. Okay, how about this? Johnny Lever, he could play me. Right? He's great. I gotta meet him. Johnny, we gotta meet one day. That'd be cool to meet him. Hrithik Roshan? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a real casting. This is jacked Salman Khan. Oh boy. Oreos. Straight dunk or twist off? I know, look, today's been really controversial. I've talked about a lot of crazy things, but I just gotta come clean. I do neither. I do neither, okay? What I do is I take a bite of it, then I have a glass of milk. Prashant, don't you dare fucking laugh at me. Prashant, he's my brother. I take a bite, and then I chew it, and I drink milk, and I let it, why are you cringing? Then I let it mix in my mouth, and then I vomit it back in the cup like a little baby bird. Then I put it in the microwave. But it's a plastic cup, and it's a plastic cup, and I warm it for 4 to 5 minutes, and it goes, eh. And then I stand next to the microwave. I put my face next to the microwave, and it's like, eh. And I open it, and then the plastic and the milk and the cookies have congealed. Then I take a big old bite of it, and and that really gets me going. So now you guys know about my inner process. All right, 1 billion lifetime deal with Skechers, or 3 million 3-year deal with Nike/Jordan. This is from Aaron. I'll say this right here, right now. Give me the Skechers deal. Okay, wait, do I have to publicly say? Do I have to like publicly be in the ads like Joe Montana, where it's just like, hey, these help me walk? No! No, you'd actually be, it would be even better? Skechers should give me the endorsement deal, but I'm a silent endorser. And just every day, people just see me in Skechers, and they're like, why is he doing that? That's actually more brilliant. Skechers, I actually think it would be better for Skechers, because everyone would be like, yo, what's his deal? And I'm like, I don't know. Does Skechers have the wheelies? No, but does Skechers do like a knockoff version of that? Because that'd be so great if it was like, dun, 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 and then I do my thing where I run on stage and I'm like, dun. And I'm like, thank you. Tonight, I want to talk about elections in India. Allbirds would be pissed? You already know my stance on Allbirds. Don't do that. Don't be divisive tonight. Here we go. Skechers. It's the S. You got it, Zach? Cool.